Just 3 years, from 2017 to 2019, the continent spent, guys, listen, the continent spent just 3 years, US billion dollars, 101.6. Guys, 101.6 billion US dollars to import the same 4 products just within 3 years. So this is the journey to one Africa. All right, guys, hear me out. More than 70% of Africans we're based on agriculture. That is equivalent to 900 million Africans who are farming sector. But yet, every single day you have a lot of number of people who are dying because of insufficient of food. More than 60% of arable land is found in the continent in Africa. That means we can farm as much we can and give our people food. Let me give you an example. You can take an example of mango. Mango in the continent, basically the price of mango in the continent, and when you compare to the price of mango in the United States or a lot of countries out there, South Korea, Japan, is actually 7 times more than the price we have here in the continent. And the quality of those mangoes there, you cannot even compare to the mangoes here in the continent, because those are just little mangoes like somewhere like this, but we have big mangoes and health mangoes. That is one of the markets that we have out there, that today, if we decide to grow mangoes as much as we can in the continent, we'll be able to sell to our people, actually not to our people, to the countries like United States, and earn a lot of money out of it, but we don't seem to care about it. Instead, today, when you go to a lot of supermarkets in the continent, you find mangoes from the United States, you find mangoes from Philippines, you find mangoes from all the countries out there. And yet we have a potential to grow mangoes in our countries. But one of the problems is this, that most of the mangoes that we grow here in the continent, it actually just have one season. It's just one season throughout the year. So basically we cannot meet the demand that they need mangoes out there, because they need mangoes all the time. And if we just grow once in a season, that means you cannot really, meet the demand of the mango out there. Like the supply and demand is not equal, and therefore, we're out of the market. But this is just one example. But I'll flip the coin a little bit and show you where we actually get wrong. According to one of the articles written by Reuters, it says this, that in 2017, all right, China actually exported rice to Africa, more than 781,000 tons of rice. Guys, China imported rice from China to Africa, more than 781,000 tons of rice to our countries. And one of the countries that imported like a lot of rice, the first country in the continent was Ivory Coast. So guys, think about it. 781,000 tons of rice came from one country, single country, China, came to the continent and we imported. But I want to give you a little bit more data, that it is mind-boggling to just think about it, that the value of global rice, actually imports, was actually US $21.8 billion. 21.8 billion. And Africa was the second highest importer of rice from China with 20.6%. So we're actually the second in the entire world to import rice from China with 20.6. That is actually, let me give you a number, 20.6%. That is translates to around 4.5 billion spent on importing rice to Africa. The fact is that most of countries in the continent produce rice. For example, my country, I'm actually in the business of selling rice. So I was actually surprised to find these facts, that we produce rice, but at the same time we import rice, 4.5 billion US billion we import. There's a need of rice across the continent, across the world, but we do not seem to produce enough to supply and to actually even export to other countries away from here. When you go to the market, you find Thai rice, you find Chinese rice, Korean rice, but what we do without rice, we do nothing about it. And 70% depends on agriculture. We say agriculture is the backbone of the economy, but we do nothing to improve that sector. We do nothing to export, but we spend a whole lot of money just to import. And I'll give you more data, just wait a little bit. So 4.5 billion spent on importing rice to Africa. This actually translates, this is equivalent to 3/4 of value of gold exported in 2019 by the second largest producer of gold, Ghana. You guys, you understand that? Twice as much as 2019 annual gold exporter of Tanzania, which is the 6th largest producer of gold in Africa, and is more than 3/4 of Zambia's 5-year average exports of copper from 2015 to 2020. 5 years, guys. No African countries appears to be on the list on the top 15 countries exporter of, rice, which ship around 92.8% of the world total rice exported by value. So when you look at the list of the countries that export rice, Africa is not even in top 15. Yet we have 60% of the all arable land to produce rice, to produce whatever fruits, whatever crops we want, and to export, but we don't do nothing. Let me give you guys another data that will shock your mind. So according to the Food Agriculture Organization of the United Nations called FAO, in 2019, guys, listen to this very careful. In 2019, Africa spent a total of US billion dollar 32.9. Guys, $32.9 billion Africa spent to just import 4 products. Let me name them: wheat, maize, palm oil, and rice. Guys, we grow wheat in the continent. Egypt, Ethiopia, Nigeria, we grow wheat. Even in my country, Tanzania as well, we grow rice all across the continent. We grow maize. Maize is kind of like the food of this continent. You go to Zambia, the same thing. Go to Nigeria, the same thing. You go to Zimbabwe, the same thing. Go to Tanzania, the same thing. Everywhere you find maize. But guess what? We spend $32.9 billion to just simply import these 4 products, these 4 crops. Guys, this is more than the GDP of Togo, Cape Verde, Central African Republic, Guinea-Bissau, the Gambia, Liberia, Malawi, Lesotho, Eritrea, Comoro, and Burundi combined based on the World Bank. GDP members for 2019 combined is more than that. Over the period of just 3 years, from 2017 to 2019, the continent spent, guys, listen, the continent spent just 3 years, US billion dollars, 101.6. Guys, $101.6 billion to import the same 4 products just within 3 years. So guys, here's the thing. Sometimes we believe that Africa is poor. Africa is not poor, but we have poor mindset. I say these 3 enemies of the continent. The first thing is mindset. The second thing are leaders. The third things are those who are looking forward to exploit the continent. These are 3 enemies of this continent. Guys, if within the period of 3 years, 2017 to 2019, those are actually 2 years. Within that period, we spent $101.6 billion to just import 4 products: palm oil, maize, wheat, and rice. Guys, $101.6 billion. That's a whole lot of money, guys, just to import. This is almost equivalent to all 15 West African countries under ECOWAS 2019 GDPs. Of course, you can exclude Nigeria, Ghana, and Cote d'Ivoire, but $101 billion, it's equivalent to all 15 countries in the West Africa. So think about that. Just take a moment to think about it. I wish I can read more for you, but I'm not going to read. But think about that just for a little bit. Guys, this is how much money we spend in importing food. The food that we actually grow in our countries. And our leaders, our people don't seem to focus on actually improving agriculture sector in the continent, because there's actually money in agriculture. We can stop importing. We can produce with the highest amount of whatever products we have, and also we can export it to other countries, because there's a need for food. The world needs wheat, the world needs rice, the world needs oil, the world needs maize, the world needs mangoes, pawpaw, watermelon, and we produce here in the continent one of the best, because we don't use organic seed, or we don't use GMO seeds. We use actually organic seed most of our countries. Those are healthy. Those are what people need to eat. But you know what? We don't seem to focus on that. Agriculture is the backbone of the entire world economy. In our countries, most of underprivileged people are the one who base on agriculture. In the continent, people who are going to agriculture are those who are going to retire 60 years plus. But no, man, that's why we have people dying because of hunger in the continent. Just a month ago, we were crying here on media all the time, saying that Malawi people are dying because they don't have food, and yet we do nothing. We don't have strategic plan to change that. I decided to come to this sector of agriculture because I see there's a need for our people to be fed. I don't just want to sell, agriculture products. I don't just want to sell. I want our people to eat, and I want to see less people dying in the continent because of excessive amount of food. And then after our people are being satisfied, then we can start exporting and making more money. It's as simple as that. But look at the money we spend for just importing food. Man, I was really surprised. China, more than 781,000 tons of rice importing to the continent. And while we grow the same rice in so many countries in the continent, maize, we import maize, guys, maize. We import wheat. What the heck are we doing? How does the future of this continent look like? I remember President Magufuli said this, that our countries are poor because of two things. First, because of overexpending and mismanagement of our resources. We overspend and we mismanage what we have. We keep bragging that we have resources, but you know what? They don't benefit us at all because we don't do nothing to actually make profit out of it. Some people that benefit from what we have, they grow from what we have, and will remain the same. This continent has been crippled for so long time. We are crippled we are not moving forward simply because you're not making decisions. These three enemies of the continent, this mindset, we need to change our mindset. We need to transform. You go to supermarkets in the continent, you see a lot of foreign products right there. They're being sold with the highest price, and yet we buy them. We don't seem to bother ourselves to do agriculture. Man, mango, avocado. I lived outside for a while. Avocado, they're very little, very expensive. But here in the continent, you find these huge avocado with a cheap price. How much can you produce and export outside? Mango, rice, wheat, maize, palm oil. How much can you produce here in the continent and export outside? If we spend $101 billion just for importing these four products within 3 years, within 2 years, how much can we save if we start producing this and supplying it to our people? We'll save a whole lot of money. Continent Africa, we are not poor. We are very rich, but we mismanage our resources and we overspend in our budgets. As a result, we remain the same and nothing changed. If you want to see the difference, first of all, the unity is very important. Second, we need to transform our mind. We need to decolonize our mind. We need to depend less on them and be independent, producing for ourselves, feeding ourselves. That's why when they decide to sanction us, we don't do anything. We don't move forward. You know why? Because we don't have anything to do. We depend fully on them and we can't run. Let's learn from Russia. They have been sanctioned for a while right now, but they're still moving forward. Do you know why? Because they're focusing on developing themselves from the within. So America stopped US aid, and a lot of people have been crying. Our people have been crying, even leaders, some of them, God forbid, have been crying because of that. And I'm like, yes. A lot of people have been, they lost their job. Yes. Maybe this is the wake-up call that we should depend on what we have from the inside. We should do everything we can to transform our country from the inside and not depend on them. We have to change this continent. We have to transform this continent. And we have everything it takes. We have the land, fertile land. We have the will. We have the power. We have everything it takes. Why can't we make decisions? Why can't we move forward? The time is now. Young people rise up. Young people get into agriculture sector. Young people, there's a market there. Do it excellently with high standard. Let's try feeding our people. Let's start by feeding our people. And then we can export somewhere else and make income for ourselves and for the sake of the next generation. One Africa right now, one Africa in our generation.